Welcome, ladies and gentlemen. This is Zero from TechDragon.info, and today we do have a video from the test server. It was almost a normal video because the test server was offline for like 2 hours, but it's finally back, and I have no idea why it was offline. I'm guessing maintenance. But we are back, and we are going to take a look at this little green beast. This is, of course, obviously the love child between a Chinese tank and this particular tank. I mean, clearly, as you can see, like the turret and that front plate like that. Yeah, this was definitely the offspring of a Chinese tank with the T-28 prototype. Luckily for this tank, it did not inherit anything from a T-28 prototype. It doesn't have the gun type, it doesn't have the armor, nor the slow speed. So I guess it got very lucky with the gene pool. No, but in all seriousness, 580 hit points, yeah, it's not great, but if you take a look at this one, that's 880, that's quite a boost from tier 6 to 7. If you take a look at the medium, 480, so 580, it's a slight boost up from a tier 5 stuff, but now we can pull up a, let's see, a tier 6 scout. We have this piece of shit, 590. The French have the 12T. The British, well, British have the Cromwell. It's sort of a scout, but not really. We have the Germans with their 2801, and Russians with the M25. MT25, excuse me. There we go. Now keep in mind that some of these don't have their full configurations loaded up, so it's not a, perfect comparison, but, or rather, however, since I'm not allowed to say but anymore, I'm one of my subscribers. I keep saying it, sorry. This tank has 580. It's less than... Actually, well, it's not too bad compared to some of these. This is better than the T25, although this one doesn't have its top turret, but usually you get about 50 HP from your top turret, so I'm guessing about 560 when upgraded. So I guess it's sort of smack in the middle. Has more than the Germans, although I'm guessing the Germans will get about 40 HP, so 590-ish. So it really isn't too bad. I guess it's pretty much in the middle. Now the weight, 23 tons, it's lighter than the MT25, it is the same as the T21, which is very strange, but I'll get to that in a second. It is a lot heavier than the AMX, which is kind of odd as well, because the AMX actually has double the amount of armor in almost all respects, so that's pretty sick. And then we have the VK2801, which has 25 tons and is the heaviest compared to this one at least, but equal with the MT25. Speed limits, well, this thing, it's a speed monster. Speed limit of 72. Now, I have driven the 12T, but it was a long time ago. The 2801, I don't think I ever got to this one, so I can't judge about it. How it handles, because I've never driven this one. I've driven the T21 and I absolutely hate it. Well, here, this is a good comparison. This thing weighs 23.15 tons. This one is 23 tons. This one has pretty good acceleration and maneuverability. This one has poor. I've been playing this thing quite a bit in the last couple of days. I don't know, between 10 and 15 battles. I know it's not a whole lot, but I've done quite a couple in the last day or so. And this thing is sluggish. Traverse is terrible. However, if you compare it to this one, then this one should be better on paper. 520 horsepower engine, that's better. A 56 traverse speed on this one versus 58 here, it should be better, but this one handles better than this one, so that's a bit strange. Fuel range 390, 350, but again these don't have their top turrets, although this one does. There's no turret upgrade for T21. I don't think the Russian has its upgrade yet. I think it gets one, so it should be slightly better. 380 on that one, and that's fixed. And 370 on that one, but I don't think that's its top turret either. So let's get rid of those. So it has a pretty good view range compared to all the other scouts at this tier, so that's nothing to be ashamed of. Turret verse 36 is a bit slow, I have to say, for a light tank. Now let's compare this to the Type 62. I know it's a tier higher, but it's sort of a good comparison because this tank used to be the tier 6 and is now tier 7. The hull armor on this thing is rubbish, but the Type 62 is not much better. Turret armor 25, and it's an open top vehicle, which also sadly means no vents. That is kind of crappy. That really is bad. View range on the Type 62 is the same. So, you know, for all intents and purposes, the Type 62 is a better tank. Turret reverse 48 versus 36. Rate of fire is slower on this one, but it also has a way better gun with way better penetration. Turret armor, well, you know, it's garbage on both, so you don't really have to compare that. Reverse speed 54 is actually slightly worse, but this thing was and is sort of not an active scout, so that's not a shocker. It got a lot better with the recent update, but it's not an active scout still. Speed limit of 60 versus 72. So that's a pretty good speed limit. Horsepower on the Type 62 is only 430 versus 500, but it also weighs slightly less, but I would say this one has the better horsepower. So, the gun. Yeah, it's not great. 18 seconds, or 18 rate of fire, which comes down to about 3.5 seconds. Yeah, reload time, roughly 3 seconds, something like that. Slightly over 3 seconds. So it's not too bad, but 128 pen, 150 damage for a 3-second reload. It's not great. I mean, it functions, but it's not great. Accuracy at 0.4 is pretty terrible. Grabbed a gun from Type 62 here as well. It has better accuracy, 0.37. The aiming time is 2.1 seconds. That's not too bad. And keep in mind that on Type 62 you can equip vents, so you know that aiming time is going to go down on a Type 62. Let's get back to the Type 64 here. There we go. So, the gun is, I guess, sort of a disappointment. I mean, you're doing 115 versus 180. We can compare this to some of the other scouts real quick. You have to, I know the gun isn't the main thing on a scout, yes, I know that. But on this tank, you might need to reconsider. So, 85 damage on that one, that's pretty poor. But rate of fire is way better, and penetration is actually worse, so I guess the gun isn't too bad compared to the MT25. What else do we have? Well, we can't really compare it to the 12T all that, you know, great, because that's an auto-loader, 144 pen, 135 damage, but I would say overall better gun. But it's French and it's an auto-loader. What are you gonna expect, you know? Chinese. This might actually be an interesting one to compare with, because this is its direct competition, I would say. This one's actually an auto-loader. I didn't realize that. Interesting. But, oof, 85 penetration. Owie, 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 owie. So I'm guessing that this might be a better gun. No, it really isn't. Okay, 85mm penetration it is. So I guess this gun isn't too bad compared to the competition. We can compare the stats of this tank real quick here. Let's go back to the garage. Keep in mind, of course, this is non-upgraded, so it's, you know, not the full picture. HP, once you get the final turret, should be pretty similar. Engine, well, again, it's not a top engine, so that would be pretty similar. Speed limit is better on this thing. Traverse speed 52, again, you don't have the tracks yet, so I'm guessing it's going to be fairly similar. You get slightly more armor, but not a whole lot. It still won't save you at all. The gun, as we just saw, was actually crappier, but with a better rate of fire, but not by much. Turret reverse 48, that is a lot better. That is one thing that is slightly lacking on this thing. The turret takes a while to swing around. And the view range, again, that one is not the top turret. I'm expecting it to be 390-ish as well. this thing actually gets a pretty good radio. I mean, I know it's a premium and, you know, they don't get anything better. But if you look at the tier 7, the Type 62, only 600 meters. So this one getting 700 meters is really, really good. You're not going to run out of signal range. I mean, 700 meters, if they even have a 350 meter radio, you're still going to be able to cross a kilometer. So that's pretty good. So those are the main features of this tank. It's fast, it's very traversable, maneuverable, and the gun isn't bad when you compare it to the competition. It's not a great gun, but it's workable. And I'm gonna show you a game where I play it mostly as a flanker because I'm forced to by my team, because my team goes full retard and drives straight into everything and just throws their, you know, tanks at people. So I'm gonna have to play it slightly different. Normally I would say play this as a passive scout at first, just like a Type 62. Passive scout at first and then go into active flanking role. I think that playstyle will be very suitable for this thing, but let's take a look at the game. And here we are on Serene Coast. The reworked Serene Coast, obviously, from the previous patch. What I forget to mention, by the way, is the equipment loadout on this thing. I went with a Camonet binoculars and coated optics to get the best view range possible. It's not gonna help me a whole lot in this game though, like I said before, but you'll see in a second what I mean. I'm taking up a scouting bush here just to see how many of their scouts come straight through the middle, because this is the test server, but look at everybody around me. Everybody is just running into the middle. Nobody goes hill and they just all, like chickens without a head, run into the frickin' middle. So there goes my entire plan of scouting this game. It's not gonna happen. Now I have to get used to the gun a little bit here. And yeah, so as you can see, the accuracy is pretty poor, but we are shooting at 500 meters almost, so yeah, you know, you can't complain too much about that, but 0.4 on a light tank is pretty shit with a gun that the rate of fire isn't bad, but it's not great either. So I'm really trying to help out our rather stupid team, if I might say so. Ooh, we missed. Yeah, look at that aiming circle. It's pretty big. I mean, it really is big. I don't have much of a shot. Oh, I bounced a shot. I bounced a shot. Oh my god, it bounced. Call the newspaper. Tiger, and the shot goes low, goes into his track, does absolutely nothing. The next one goes over. And the gun is not great, I have to say. Sniping with it, as I'm just trying to demonstrate to you here, it's not great. But, you know, once they just sit there, oh crap, I've been detected. Ow. That frickin' hurt. Yeah. Don't expect to. Oh, by the way, do you see? Pause it here. You see those little cans on the side here? I did some testing earlier with this thing, and yes, those are actually fuel tanks. If you hit someone there, you can hit them in the fuel tank. I tested it this around version 1 of the tester, I think, yeah, version 1 with Huvian. I put one round into him, straight through that canister, and I hit his fuel tank. First hit. Second hit, I lit him on fire because, you know, fuel, engine compartment, fire. He hit me 5 times in a row without hitting my fuel tank, so I don't know if I just got extremely lucky or something, but it does seem that those things are fuel tanks, so keep that in mind. If you have the time to... It's not like you have to aim on this thing, you know? It's not like it has armor and you have to hit a weak spot, but if you just want to mess with somebody or light them on fire because you think it's funny and you have the accuracy, then by all means hit those canisters there. So my team gets, well, the ones up front, in front of me, got kind of decimated, but I don't really want to go up there, because this is still a very tier 7 game and I have no armor. I'm just being careful of that, what is it, E25 up there. I'm not quite sure where he is. I know there's a medium up in front of me here somewhere. Oh, there he is. Let's put this back in first person view and put a shot into him. He misses his shot. Back out. Okay. Now we have him in cover, and he'll have to break cover before he can shoot. So we wait, and there it is, we pull back, and it's a miracle that shot with it. Absolute miracle. Now keep in mind that this is a Chinese tank, so the depression is going to be less than stellar. Although, it didn't really bother me this game, let me put it like that. The depression isn't terrible, it's very functional and workable. So just keep that in mind. So as you can see here, flanking. Absolute flanking. He has no idea where I'm at this point. He's going for something else, and we wait, and we put a shot into him. That aim time is a bit long. You might want to do something about that if you... You know what, the thing is... Pause here again. The thing is with scouts, it all depends on how you play it. I set mine up in this case for more passive scouting, but I'm actually doing more active scouting. So I would have possibly been better off equipping something to get my aim time down, you know, not too optics. So it really depends on what your playstyle. Let's put it like that. If you're more of a passive scout and sit in a bush, like if you were to, you know, sit here, then you might want to go with binoculars and coated optics, because this thing is fast. So you kind of want to go towards the coated optics because you want to keep moving, and the binoculars are for standing still. If you combine the two, you get a pretty insane view range on this thing, and you have no armor. You do have speed, and you have a gun that's not great. So it all depends on how you want to play this thing. But as you can see, the depression, it's not great, but it's definitely not terrible. Check this out. Put a shot into him and actually did damage. I really looked the other way because I never suspected that to actually do something. It just went over. But we're getting the perfect side of his turret here. We get to put a couple of juicy hits into him and even get to take him out. Dang. Now here is where I make a mistake. He knows I'm here, and I didn't want to jump in front of his gun because I'm a one-shot kill. I'm thinking about going around him, but yeah, he's seen me, and I'm just stupid. I should have gone down the hill here. No, stupid. My shot bounces. I don't have the reload time to track him and die. That was just terrible playing on my end. I should have dove behind. Dove below his depression and let my team finish him off as he comes over the hill. Preferably track him right on top of the hill, but he's gonna die anyway, so I guess we'll take a look at the stats. And here we are at the stats. As you can see, we got a couple of medals here. Let's take a quick look. Sharpshooter, second class, and a master gunner, which is interesting with this gun. I'm surprised at how many we actually pinned on the black prints. I guess we had this turret pretty flush from the side there. Got some spotting damage on upon detecting. Got that on the Tiger as well, and on the PZ-SFL 4. That's odd. It's got a 5 here. Hold on. And I'll get back to that in a second. Where is that little thing? Oh no, of course. I was thinking this one. Okay, the names are almost the same, so yeah, no wonder. Oh man, it's gonna be confusing when you think you got one of them, but it's the other. Okay, let's close that up. So anyways, yeah, we got that much of it upon the spotting on him as well. Not a whole lot though. I really didn't do jack shit for spotting. And that's the problem with the test server right now. At the beginning of the game, you saw me sitting in a bush, but everybody just went YOLO and ran out. There is no spotting. It's almost impossible to spot on a test server. So testing out a light tank that is a pure and simple scout is almost impossible on the test server. So I had to do damage just to make up the difference, and I don't think I did too bad. I mean, he did pretty damn well on his Type 64, so yeah, he had a good game, but he did 1900 damage. I managed to pull out 1200 damage and 2 kills, which still on a light tank is not bad. It was a tier 7 game, I'm gonna say, yeah, tier 7 game, so not too bad, but I got almost no spotting damage in and did 1200 damage myself, which was not too great, given the rest of the team, but the team did just really well. Look at how many people did over 1000 damage, and look at the enemy team. They had 1. That's it. That was the only good player on their team. The rest was pretty garbage. But, you know, it's a test server, so it's hard to judge. I would say that, given the equipment, I should have been able to spot a shit ton more in any normal battle, but because everybody just YOLOs and, you know, races over the battlefield towards the other side, you can't spot. Let's see if he got any spotting damage in. No, see? He hardly got any spotting damage in as well. So, that's kind of the problem. Oh, great. They were shooting each other. Frackin' wonderful. Or he started shooting him. Where is he? Him. They seem to be in a shootout. Awesome. Anyways, so spotting is just not possible on test server to test. I did what I could. I'm very sad that this didn't work out, and that I had a crappy radio operator, although it doesn't really matter right now, but it kills my brothers in arms, which is really annoying. But yeah, what are you gonna do? So, the one extra crew member slot is kind of annoying to me. Don't know why they did that. I guess it's historical accuracy, but it's just annoying to me. It means you can't use your Type 62 crew, which I have, as you can see, a pretty good crew in. But anyways, back to the scoreboard. Fire 22, hit 16, pen 12, so we actually managed to pen a shit lot of our shells. I'm really surprised. The gun was very much behaving itself, I have to say. We died pretty fast. Yeah, 580 hit points and no armor is not gonna save you. You're gonna get wrecked in this thing very quickly. You cannot take hits, simple as that. So, if you have a Type 62 and you like the playstyle, this thing is going to be exactly the same. They're both relatively fast. This one is bloody fast and this one relatively fast, of course. The gun is pretty meh. It really is. But, you know, it is a tier 6 and the Type 62 is a tier 7 now, so yeah, no shock there that the guns are different. I'm not quite sure why they went with a secondary light tank on the Chinese line here. Don't know. It's a bit weird if you ask me to make another one tier lower. But, you know, can't complain. It's a new premium tank. It does not make a buttload of money, but as you can see, it's not too shabby either. Ammunition supply 2,000. Oh, 2,000? Did I fire that much? No. Okay, that is strange. How the hell did I get 2,000 ammunition cost? That doesn't make any sense. Hang on a damn moment. Okay, let's say how many shots did I fire? 22. Did I just fire that many of them? Could that be it? 22 times, what was it? 94 credits equals 2068. Yeah, I guess it does add up. 2068, yeah, huh. Okay. I really didn't think it was that much, but I fired 22 shots, that's probably why. It's not like it's a lot of money, but it just seemed like a lot of money with only 90 credits shot. But yeah, no, it does add up, it is correct. Vehicle repair, obviously pretty cheap. And the credit multiplier seems to be pretty much the same as the Type 62, although I expect the Type 62 can get like 0.1 of a multiplier higher, you know, it's just slightly better than this one. So between the two, the better credit earner would be the Type 62, I'm pretty sure. Also because, yeah, just have a better gun and you could theoretically do more damage, but I have to say I'm pleasantly surprised by this gun. I really did not expect it to be this okay. I mean, 1200 damage is nothing to be ashamed of in a tier 6 tank, a light tank that has no armor at that. So, yeah, exact same playstyle as the Type 62. Flank, view, passive scout, but very much also an active scout, where the Type 62 is a more flanker than an active scout. This thing, an active scout, it is quick, its traverse speed is brilliant. I mean, you can't complain with that. The Type 62 is a lot better. After they buffed it a while back, that traverse speed is massively better, but it just doesn't have the oomph in the engine to really get going. This one is 23 tons and this one 21, about 430 horsepower versus 500 for only 2 extra tons. It gets quite a bit more engine power, so acceleration much better. And I guess that's about it. Overall, a pretty good tank if you're looking for a cheaper alternative to the Type 62. Not quite sure what it's going to cost, but if you look at the selling price, 1,300 or 1,300,000 something. This is 1,200,000. I'm going to say that the cost is going to be slightly less than Type 62. So you're probably looking at I'm going to say about 15 euros for this thing, where the Type 62 was about 20 euros. I don't think it's actually on the tech tree. Is it? Nah, I doubt it. Nope, it's not. So it's kind of hard to say how much it's going to be exactly, but let's take a look. The super purging. Where's the super purging? There it is. It sells for 1.8. Yeah, that was about 30 euros in price. That one is a lot more expensive. You get a lot more for it, so that's no surprise. So yeah, I'm guessing about, give or take 30 euros. Not 30, 15, excuse me. 15 euros. Which would be about $18, something like that, and about 12 pounds. But I don't know in gold how much, but this is just guessing based on the selling price and all that. Don't know what it's gonna cost. Well, I have to wait and see. That is just my guess, which should be relatively accurate. So you should be able to convert that into a gold price. You know what? Hold on one sec. Okay, after some comparison here and there, I would say it's about 3,500 gold. Roughly. It's hard to say exactly, but that's about what you can expect for it. Which comes down to about 15 euros. Something like that. So yeah, that should be roughly what this thing is going to cost, and it's a blast. It's fun as hell. It's fast as hell. The gun is a bit disappointing, but if you use it as a flanker, it can be quite effective with that rate of fire. I guess that about wraps this tank up. Thank you for watching. If you liked this video, give it a thumbs up. If you want to see more, please subscribe, and we'll see you in the next one.